Alright, with Xbox's game showcase right around the corner, we all knew that there was going to be some pretty awesome leaks coming out. People were going to be talking about this and trying to predict what games are going to be out there. And wouldn't you know it, we have our first journalist talking about what we should expect to see at the entire game show. There's a lot of games here, even after the Starfield and Redfall delay coming down the pipeline. Let's just get right into what's expected from Xbox and Bethesda Studios, because there's surprisingly some games that we didn't see coming and others that we expected. So let's just get right into this. Alright, so you know the drill. If you like the content, hit that subscribe button and that like button. And if you want to be notified on future content, hit that small little bell icon. And if you want to go the extra mile to support the channel, hit that join button. So enough of that. Let's get right into this Xbox and Bethesda showcase rumors that's been swirling around like crazy. And this isn't just a random leak on Reddit or some other random leak on a forum. Nah. This is straight from Jez Corden, one of the most respected journalists in the Xbox gaming community. He had a pretty awesome show, which is linked in the description, which is called Chatter Days with Miles Dompierre. And in that show, he talked about some of the games we should expect to see and not see at the Xbox Game Showcase. So without further ado, let's just get right into each and every single one of the games he mentioned, and also some of the games we shouldn't expect to see at the show. The first one is, of course, Starfield. We know that it's delayed, but it's still going to be one of the biggest games at the showcase. I mean, even the advertisement is this big moon for Xbox, because they're trying to say that Starfield is going to be the center of the show. I fully expect Todd Howard to put on a pretty awesome jacket, walk out on stage, and give us a gameplay demo or a deep dive into what Starfield actually is all about. He's done this multiple times for Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and pretty much every single big game coming out from Bethesda Softworks. So I expect that to happen. I expect this to be at least 10 minutes long, and I better see some gameplay. I know the game is delayed. I know it's in 2023, but you know what? We expect to see gameplay because that's what should be coming when Todd Howard goes out on stage. Now, I know we've already seen a little bit of in-game engine stuff, but now it's time to talk about what the game is all about, maybe mention some factions. I mean, Starfield's one of the first games where they talk about this so much. They have small videos come out that are 5 or 6 minutes long talking about factions, what you can do in the game, and just a whole bunch of ambitious ideas that they have surrounding this new IP. So expect the game show, which is going to be the most popular show Xbox does this year, to be centered around that game. Yet, there's still another game that Bethesda and Xbox are working on, which is Redfall, one of the biggest games that was announced for this new delay. Yet, they want to release this game along with Starfield in the next 12 months. We need to see gameplay and know just what type of game this is. If it's a Borderlands type of game, let us know. If it's a Back 4 Blood type of game with 4-player co-op, let us know. Just give us more information. We saw the awesome CGI trailer last year that showed mechanics that are going to be in the game with the vampires in the city and the 4-player co-op and all the new abilities that each character has, but they didn't go into any gameplay mechanics or anything else. All I know is that they closed out last year's show with this game, which tells me this is a massive AAA game that they're really going to hang their hats on. And I expect it to come out very early next year. I think the delay was pretty good, but you know what? Give us some gameplay, let us know what it's about, and that's all I want to see from this game. I don't want to hear anybody talk about it. I don't want to see any CGI trailer. I want to see pure gameplay because it's one of my most anticipated games, and this really sucked that it was delayed till next year. But you know what? Give the developer more time. Give them everything they need. Give them all the resources, money, developer time, whatever they need to get this game out, because I want it to be flawless. I love co-op games. I love multiplayer games, especially when it's made by talented studios like Arcane, Xbox, and Bethesda collaborating together to bring this out. So let's get right into what that game is, go in a deep dive as much as you do with Starfield, and make it all about the gameplay. Now let's go into another game that was announced last year, which is Contraband, the Avalanche Studios game that's been in development for a very long time. This is a big co-op multiplayer open world game set in the 70s. Basically, it's going to be surrounding doing heists and fighting other people, taking stuff in this open world game that's going to be in a modern setting, well, the 70s. And I'm looking forward to this because Contraband and the Avalanche Studios making this game is pretty anticipated for me. I love, again, multiplayer games that's surrounded by co-op and not to mention PvP. That is the most crucial thing to me. If this has PvP where you're taking other people's heists, you're jacking things from other people, I want to be all for that. I love games like that. It's why I love Sea of Thieves so much, because you're able to take other people's treasure that they worked hard for, but PvP and fight them. Even treasure that I've gotten, I've had to fight for it from other people that come in trying to take it from us. It's great. I love that mechanic, and it's going to make the game last a lot longer for me personally, and probably gamers that play like me. And speaking of Sea of Thieves, the team that made that is called Rare. You know, Rare Studios, the people that are behind the game Everwild. And wouldn't you know, this game was announced 2 years ago at 2020 E3 showcase for Xbox, and apparently was put on hold and had to go through some reimagining, especially since a new game director was put on this game. I'm excited to say that Jez thinks that this might actually have a chance to be at the game showcase, and I want to see what this is all about because I have full faith in what Rare makes. After Sea of Thieves, which I didn't really care before it came out, I saw the game, everybody was talking about how fun it is, blah, blah, blah. I didn't give it the time of day until it released on Game Pass. I installed it, checked it out, and realized, man, this is really centered around being a thief and PvPing across the entire open world that you have. That's what I loved about it. It's why I have over 700 hours in it. So whatever Everwild is, I'm going to be there day one for Rare because they have my loyalty from Sea of Thieves. And speaking of which, Sea of Thieves might get another massive update DLC coming at the showcase. You remember last year, the Pirates of the Caribbean DLC that came out? Well, it's something like that. It's looking to be a pretty big update coming to the already 4-year-old game. Now, I don't know if this should be on the game show or it's on the big stage, but if it's a big DLC that revolves around having maybe a 15-hour campaign like they did with the Pirates of the Caribbean one, maybe you do put it on there, talk about it. No matter what, I'm going to be excited for it because Sea of Thieves is one of my favorite games. But now let's shift over to a game that I've been looking forward to for over 2 years, which is Avowed. A game that was revealed in 2020 with that whole game showcase with Xbox where they talked about a bunch of games that kind of still haven't come out yet. And this is being made by the ultra-talented team at Obsidian Entertainment. Now, if you don't know this team, you better start getting to know them. They're the ones that make the Outer Worlds. They've made a bunch of big RPGs that everybody loves. And you know what? They're extremely talented. To me, they made the best Fallout ever in Fallout New Vegas. So I'm excited to see what they do with Avowed. It reminds me of Elder Scrolls, and I think that's where they're getting a lot of their inspiration is from Elder Scrolls, making this big epic fantasy world first person and having it be a single player only game. That's what I want to see. It's exactly what I'm looking forward to because I love it way more than the Fallout setting. I love it way more than the space setting. I love fantasy with dragons. That's why Elden Ring hit with me so hard because I love that genre. So I want to see what Avowed is, and I think it could be one of the biggest games announced at the show, but all I know is I want to see gameplay of it and maybe, just maybe, a spring release date, if not getting released summer next year. Just give us something about this game because I'm excited for it. After that, we have Project Belfry, a side-scrolling action-adventure game similar to Dragon Crown. It's a pretty big interconnected world, but just not a third-person action-adventure game like most people thought it was going to be. More of a side-scrolling open-world RPG game that I think could be kind of cool. I think they dropped this. It's a AA game made by a pretty talented studio, so drop that into Game Pass, show some gameplay, see what it is, and just say, hey, day one on Game Pass coming November or early next year. Whatever the release date is, I think we're going to see this game because Xbox needs to start showing games that are going to be coming down the pipeline for Game Pass. From there, let's talk about Project Midnight, also known as Compulsion Games' next big AAA game. If you remember, this is a gothic epic RPG that revolves around harpies and a bunch of different types of gothic lore. I'm very excited for this game. I know a lot of people don't like compulsion games, and I have to admit, they haven't brought out that many critically acclaimed games. But I'm excited for this because this is one of the studios that Xbox bought in 2018 and has been very quiet ever since. They haven't talked about anything, they haven't announced anything, and they haven't released anything. All they've done is ask for more money, more studio space, and they got every single thing they asked for. They're a massive studio with pretty good leadership out there, so we'll see what they're making, and I hope to see this at the Game Show Awards. Now, one of the biggest things that Jez didn't mention is Forza Motorsport. Now, I think this game shows up at the game show, and I think it's going to be a graphical showpiece, but I also don't know if it's going to release this year. I know people have had rumors that it's going to release this year. It's going to come out in October or November, just like every Forza does, and it's going to be there for Xbox to have that AAA game come out holiday season. But I don't know. Everybody's been talking about this game for the last 5 years, yet we don't even see anything about it. The last thing we saw was 2 years ago where they showed some in-game engine footage from it, but again, it's been quiet ever since, and some people from Turn 10 have talked and said some stuff, but overall, it's been extremely quiet. Hopefully at the game show, we see this as a graphical showpiece for the console, but also PC, and see just what they've been working on, because I know a lot of people are thirsty for some Forza Motorsport gameplay, because it's the best simulator out there when it comes to racing. And of course, we couldn't talk about Xbox without Gears of War. This is something that people have talked about before. It's a Marcus Phoenix collection that's going to get the Halo Master Chief Collection treatment. Now, as someone that loves, and I truly mean love, Gears of War, I'm so down for this. I want to replay all of the franchise with high fidelity and get this franchise to not only on the console, but get it on the PC so everyone can enjoy it. Because Gears 2, 3, and Judgment are not on the PC platform for Game Pass. I'm sure they want the whole thing, the whole franchise on the PC so they can make the PC Game Pass more enticing to gamers there. And Gears of War, being one of the biggest franchises of all time, deserves that treatment. Get the Marcus Phoenix collection on there, up the graphics, up the fidelity, and make it a complete remaster like you did with the Master Chief Collection, except release it, not broken. That's what I want to see, and I expect to see that at the show because a lot of people have been talking about this for a very long time, and when there's smoke, there's fire. Now let's talk about the third-party games. Darktide, the Warhammer 40k that's coming out from Fat Shark, is a massive game coming in September, exclusive to Xbox and Xbox Game Pass. Expect to see gameplay at the game show. I'm excited for this because I love the Warhammer world, especially the 40k world. So let's get into that game, show some gameplay, give a release date exactly when it's coming out, and also plaster it that it's coming to Game Pass because that's important. From there, there's Diablo 4, which is a massive AAA game coming from Blizzard, who might be joining Xbox as a first-party studio next year if the deal goes down. Now, this game is big. I know Diablo's been in development for like 3 or 4 years, and I know Rod Ferguson, the guy that made Gears 5 and 4, is over there directing this game. So let's see what they're doing with it. I want to see gameplay of it and a release date, but who knows? Blizzard tends to save their release dates for their own shows, but if they're becoming Xbox, I can see this dropping a release date and maybe, just maybe, giving a Game Pass hint later down the line. There also has to be something about Gotham Knights or some big AAA game coming out at the end of this year from a third-party publisher. They need to promote something like a Back 4 Blood did last holiday season, because right now Darktide isn't enough to hold people over going into 2023 with Redfall and Starfield getting a delay. Now, we didn't hear anything about Hellblade 2 or State of Decay 3 and other big games that were supposed to be there from Xbox Game Studios first party, but I think those games will show up later or even at this show later down the line. Don't get me wrong, I want to see Hellblade 2 and we might just get a release date for this year, but I wouldn't put our eggs in that basket. As for State of Decay 3, we already know there was development trouble there, so I wouldn't expect that game at the game show. I think they're going to need a little more time with it, especially with how ambitious the game is rumored to be, so don't expect State of Decay 3 there. And that's all the games that Jez talked about. He talked about a couple other ones that he hopes to see there. I don't want to put these up there saying that he said they're going to be there, so you could go check out the podcast to see which ones he was talking about, but overall, I actually like this list. I know the Redfall and Starfield delay hurt, but there's a lot of games coming from Xbox. All they need to do is be consistent in their release dates and quality they bring out. From 2023 on, I expect that from them, and if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be very critical of Phil Spencer, the team over at Xbox, to make sure that they get games out in a timely manner to justify the support they're getting from their gamers and the people that buy their products. No more excuses, no more anything. Show us gameplay at your shows and give us release dates that we can count on, because that's exactly what gamers want, especially if you want them to be a Game Pass subscriber for months on end. We need continued content to justify the price that you're charging for people to, 1, get those games, and 2, play online. But let me know what you think about all the games that were announced. Did you think that this is a pretty good list? Were you surprised to see a Gears of War collection coming with Marcus Phoenix? What about Forza Motorsport not really being mentioned by a lot of people? Do you think that's going to be a big showcase for the graphical showpiece that Xbox can do? And what about Compulsion Games? Is it about time we start hearing what they're working on? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support us out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I've been jumping into a lot of Apex Legends, Rift Breaker on Game Pass, Assassin's Creed Valhalla on my Xbox and my PC. I've been just going all over the place, playing strategy games, Apex Legends, and just everything all around. I don't know, I'm just not really honing in on one single game like I did with Elden Ring. I played that game for like a month straight with like 170 hours or something like that. But so far, I've been kind of going all over the place, jumping into all these other games because I don't know, nothing's really grabbing me to play. So I like jumping around and figuring out what I want to play. And every day I'm kind of playing something different. But let me know what you're playing. Are you playing something on your Xbox Series X, your PC, or are you on your PS5 playing something? Let me know down below, because that's what we're here for. Let's talk games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching. And until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.